gearbox, differential fluid, all in one unit there. So looked in the owner's manual. I'll show a couple pictures of what kind of fluid it requires, torque specs, different things like that, and then I'll get a couple videos of where the drain and fill plugs are, dipsticks, things like that. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I have already changed the front diff fluid in this. I couldn't wait. I didn't have a GoPro set up, so I just already did it. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to give you a couple pointers here. This is the right front portion of the vehicle. And all you're going to do is literally pull the drain plug and pull the fill plug and let it drain, and then put the drain plug back in and then fill it till it runs out the fill plug. Similar to like a dirt bike motor, how you would fill it up. You know, really anything with a fill plug. So if you can go right in here, and you can see that, sorry, this right here, right above my finger, that's the fill plug. I'll get the Allen size here in a second as soon as I get a hand free, but you take that plug all the way out, and this bolt right here kind of gives you a problem. So if you have one of those Allen wrenches with a little round ball on the end of it, my dad found this out, but it's a lot easier, kind of like a little swivel. You can take that in and out. So that's just like a freeze plug, fill plug. Pull that baby out. So I stuck an Allen socket in there just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, where it is. But as you can see right there, you just take that plug out. That is an 8mm Allen. Torque specs and everything are in the owner's manual, which I'll probably throw up here at some point in time, or I already have. But yeah, take that baby out, and you're good to go. Okay, so for the front diff, I've just showed you where the fill plug is. That was the 8mm Allen that takes the fill plug out on the right front of the vehicle there. So then you got to take the drain plug out, which drains all the fluid out of the diff. There's not much in there, but so you just go under the center of the vehicle, and there'll be kind of two. Let me hold this here. Two rows here of where to go. 1, 2, 3 back on the right. Well, if you're looking at it, it'll be on the right, but on the driver's side. So driver's side, 1, 2, 3 back. Let me flip over here and I'll show you. Or at least I think I can. So yeah, now we're slid under here. 1, 2, 3 back. Now that there is a 3/16 Allen. You just take that out and let her drain. All right, so after you've drained the front differential fluid, put the drain plug back in. You got the fill plug out over here, and you're about to fill it up. What I did is I bought one of those funnels with a valve and the hose that comes out the end of it, and there's a measuring cup built into this thing. It was about $6. Let me see if I can go find it. So this thing, you can turn the valve on and off. You can measure, I don't know if you can see it there, how many ounces are put in, and you can cap the bottom off. So it fit perfectly for that. It's like $6 at the store. So then you just put your amount of fluid in there, the correct fluid per the owner's manual, put it all in there, and it'll start running back out. It'll look like a lot will run back out, but obviously. If you're on, make sure you're on level ground, and even if it runs out, it's full. So don't be worried, but just remember that, as you can see under there, it's going to run out and sit right on that belly pan. So I would be aware that it's probably going to leak for a few days, or not leak, but just drip down a little bit. So get some brake clean while you're at it. Make sure you spray all that off real good. And that's the front diff fluid. All right, now I'm going to show you how to change the rear fluid, gearbox fluid, rear diff fluid, transmission fluid, whatever you want to call it. There is only one rear fluid. It's all one unit. As you can see, that's the transmission where the axle's going in, the whole unit there, all together. So this has a dipstick. It doesn't look like it has a dipstick, but right here, you take a 3/8 Allen and you put it right inside there. See where I put that? It looks like it's a socket on the outside, but it's not. It's actually the dipstick. And you take that out, loosen it, and it'll actually pull out a dipstick so you can check your transmission fluid. I'll get another hand here and I'll pull it out to show you. Okay, so I just loosened that. We're going to pull the dipstick out here. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, it is full. I got royal purple in there because I just changed this also. I couldn't wait, but it shows the range and it has a dipstick. So you just put that back in there and tighten that back up. All it is plastic, so it doesn't need much. There's a torque spec for this in the owner's manual also. I don't have a torque wrench that goes down that far. And they're $200 at Harbor Freight, so yeah. So yeah, there's the transmission dipstick. It takes 50.7 ounces. Side note, I just had this at the dealership, and as you can see, my transmission's pretty fresh. I had a clicking noise, so then they couldn't figure out what the clicking noise is, so they just said screw it, and we're going to put in 2 rear axles and a transmission. We got that clicking noise taken care of for you, buddy. So after 90 days, I got it back, and I thought, well, let me just check the transmission fluid just to make sure. And I hadn't driven it since I got it back. I drained out, it was not on the dipstick, so I drained out the fluid that they had in the brand new transmission. They only had 20 ounces of fluid. It takes 51. So beware taking it to the dealer. I think a 10-year-old child could read a dipstick. Anyway, so there's that. Underneath it, which you can kind of see in reference to when you slide under, that's the transmission, that's the engine. Transmission, engine. They're both 17 millimeter sockets. So right below that transmission is a 17 millimeter socket, or 17 millimeter drain plug that comes out. So I'll show you here. All right, so we're at the back of the vehicle. I'm about to slide under and show you where the drain plug is. So there is underneath the belly pan. I think the drain plug is right here. Yeah, for the transmission. So pretty much, what is that? Almost directly center, straight into the big hole. So we'll slide under and I'll show you. Sliding back, first little hole. Hey, transmission drain plug. Which couldn't be. I wouldn't say. No, we're good. Anyway, so that's a 17 millimeter drain plug. Take that out, let it all drain out, tighten it back up. I would advise using the torque specs in the owner's manual to tighten that back up. So slide back out. Okay, so now you got your transmission fluid drained out. Pretty simple. Pull the drain, or the dipstick that I just showed you a little bit ago, and that's where you fill it up at. And you can use the same funnel, you could use a measuring cup, you could use whatever you want, but I would make sure that it is on the money, exactly how much it's supposed to be in there. Be on level ground. What I did is I put exactly how much was supposed to be in there, took it for a good test drive, came back, checked it, no leaks, everything was good. So yeah, and we'll move on to the oil change next. All right, so oil change. Also, 17 millimeter drain plug. I'll show you here where it is here in a second. Man. Easy reference is go to the right rear and right in front of the tire. You could slide in under there. And if you can see that oval, the first oval right here, that's where it is. I'll slide under again just to show you. But yeah, that's the engine drain plug. And obviously because it's, you know, right below the engine. Okay. Go ahead and break that drain plug loose and drain the fluid out. Jeez. Maybe I could have got a shorter ratchet. Okay. A little bit longer, a little bit more leverage. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's the drain plug. It's hard to tell if any of this is even showing up on camera, but there's not really any metal on the magnetic part inside the drain plug, so that all looks pretty good. What is a bit alarming is there's no crush washer. And I've seen this in another video of somebody that changed oil too. The Can-Am kit comes with a crush washer, but there's not a crush washer on it. I don't really understand, but apparently I'm going to run to the dealer and get a crush washer to put on there too. So I will be back here in a little bit, but going good so far. All right, just got back from the dealer. There is supposed to be a crush washer on it. So there is the drain plug, and you can see the magnet inside. I've kind of wiped it off. And here's the crush washer, which was not on there. I have no idea how it was even not leaking, but that's what you get for having the dealer do your first service, in addition to having them do anything at all. So yeah, crush washer, drain plug. I'm gonna wipe that stuff off here and we'll get going. Okay, all looks pretty good there. Okay, so we got the drain plug all wiped off. New crush washer on it. The torque specs is, get under here, slide under. The owner's manual says to tighten it to 22 foot-pounds. I'm just gonna hand run it in there. At least I think so. Okay, so we're good to go there. Get the torque wrench on. those little things on it. There we go. Okay. That's it. Wow. I guess 30 foot or 22 foot-pounds isn't a whole lot, so we'll go ahead and wipe that off. But as you can see, crush washer, drain plug, good to go. Alright, now that the oil's drained, we're going to need to go ahead and take the oil filter out, which is behind the seats. So, go ahead and pull. I'm going to find some way to clamp this up here, and then we'll revisit. Alright, so engine cover off, which was a huge pain in the butt. You have to like slide it because there's a heat shield connected to it, so you can't just slide it up and out. You really gotta finagle it around there. So anyway, down right there where my finger is, there's 3 5/16 bolts that go in there. I'll see if I can slide the GoPro down. So yeah, I don't know if you're able to see them, but that is the oil filter housing. There's 3 5/16 bolts. Make sure that you feel around there with your hand to see that you're taking the correct 3 bolts off. Okay, old oil filter out. It does show that it's a Rotax part number here. I'm going to replace it with a K&N filter I got from my local parts store. I don't think it's going to be any better, but it's definitely here and in stock. So that's going to be that. I definitely have it out. It was super tight to get it out of there. Sorry, can't even think straight. So you can see down in there that it is out. I'm going to try and slip the GoPro in there again. So you should be able to see that's where the oil filter comes from. 3 bolts, and it's out. You will get oil everywhere. I tried packing rags down in there to soak it up, but it just went everywhere. So prepare to buy at least a can or 2 of brake clean during this process as well. So that is the oil filter cover. 3 bolts, new oil filter. You know, that's the back side of it. All 3 are the same there. And the Can-Am parts come with a new sealing ring. I just took that O-ring off, wiped it off real good, put it back on. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on it too, just with my finger, but we should be good to go with that. I can't imagine there's going to be any issues. So I'll go ahead and get this stuff in. It came out in this orientation. The big O-ring, not the small O-ring, was out. It even kind of pushes in there too, as you can see. Okay, I'm gonna go stick it in. Okay, got the new oil filter installed. As you can kind of see down in there, I don't know if you can, but the housing's back on. All 3 bolts started. New oil filter in there. I made sure to rub some oil all over the sealing points where the rubber gasket might be touching. And there you can see, started, good to go. I'm going to torque those back down. There is a torque spec in the owner's manual, and I'm going to get that all sprayed off with brake clean, and then we'll go ahead and put the engine cover back on. Alright, got everything put back together. Drain plug's tight, oil filter cover and oil filter are in. Everything's cleaned off, wiped off, cover's back on. So I'm about to add oil, top it off, and that's what I got. I got Lucas side-by-side synthetic 5W50. The owner's manual says, and here's the K&N part 2. The owner's manual says it takes 2.1 quarts. So I'm going to add 2 quarts, start it, check it, make sure, and then we'll add a little bit afterwards. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add the oil. Let's see if I can get a little bit of light in here. Perfect. Oil dipstick. Okay, and that's it. That's how you change oil in a Maverick Sport, change the front differential fluid, and change the rear gearbox oil. I didn't show it earlier, but this here is the royal purple I used, 7590, and then this here is 75140. So both of those fluids were the gearbox oil and the front differential fluid, and then I used the Lucas oil, which took 2 quarts I put in, and then I actually had to add over 1/10 of a quart, maybe 2/10 of a quart, so it did take a good amount after that too. But yeah, everything's good to go, and that's how you do some maintenance on it.